As a result of the riots, we found that we got funding, we were given resources. When you work with these young people, it's like you make an unofficial pledge. Yeah? Nobody's been there for you. I hear you. I will be there for you. I won't let you down. And you strive to honor that, but the system fails you. Justice is an illusion. It works for the poor people, it doesn't work for the upper class. They are exempt from the same rules that control and condition us. My name is Peter Jamison. I originally grew up in Wolverhampton. I'm a social worker working in London. I work with young offenders. I've been doing it for a long time. And it's been an interesting journey. I'm still struggling to deal with the issues. This is my passion.
We're talking about today is post the riots. What's happened since?
I was socially excluded through racism and politics. And the riots gave us an opportunity to vent some of our frustrations and challenge some of the issues. As a result of the riots, we found that we got funding, we were given resources, and we were heard to some point. What I've noticed over the last 40 years is that there's a pattern here. The community is given funding or resources, and in my opinion, to pacify, and I'll explain why. The money's put in place, projects are created, and young people are engaging, and we are seeing effective results. So you'd think that with these things working, that they would be prolonged, but that's not the case. It's always a case of funding being withdrawn, and then these services are taken away from the young people who need it most, and we see that through the criminal justice system. Yeah, there's an increase in the number of young people going through the system. And then there's this, it becomes a political agenda, youth crime, knife crime, gun crime, drugs, and then there's money sent out again, and then there's projects again, then the funding is withdrawn, and these projects are constantly rebranded and only given a 5-year lifespan, and then taken away. So it's like putting a bullet, putting a plaster on a gunshot wound, knowing it's not helping, but once the blood stops, you tear it off so it bleeds again.
Wow. Yeah.
We're talking about the Brixton riot, are we?
No, yeah,
The
but you
first
were
one.
in Birmingham.
Brixton, well, it had an impact across the country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because there's been quite a few riots since.
The very first one would have been the 70s, the 80s, the very
81?
Yeah.
Which went across the...
Which went right across. I come from a generation where young people were politically aware, and we were anti-authority, anti-system, because we had felt that justice wasn't for us. Justice didn't work for us, and we were oftentimes the victims of police brutality that was re-endorsed through the criminal justice system. Change has to come from the top and then cascade down. And what I find is that we're having little pockets of race awareness workshops by frontline practitioners who try their best to deal with the issue, but there's no support from the top. And if it's not dealt with at the top, then it's not going to go anywhere. And I've been around too long, and I've been talking about the same thing for too long, to believe that there's a genuine interest. I'm very, very skeptical, very, very cynical. I'm in my 60s now. This has been my whole life's experience.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science. I believe, I'm going to own my statement, justice is an illusion. Mm-hmm. It works for the poor people, it doesn't work for the upper class. They are exempt from the same rules that control and condition us. So we've got a long way to go. There's a lot that needs to be done. When we dealt with community services back in the day, or face-to-face services, there was an element of care, there's an element of empathy, there's an element of understanding. It's very, very cold nowadays. You don't get that. It's, I want your money. And that's all the focus is. I don't care what's going on in your life, just pay your bills, I want your money. Yeah. And I find that difficult, and then I find it difficult trying to teach young people to be caring and responsible for the community when that selfish messages constantly and material messages constantly being reinforced throughout society.
Well, I remember saying to young people back when we all first started working together in like 2005, 2006, and they'd say, the government don't care about us. And I go, well, we're in a youth centre. You've got Sydney and Peter working with you. They're paying for us to come down and make a film about your lives. There's some investment there. And then I flash forward to 2011 and the riots, and I couldn't say that anymore. They'd say, what, the government don't care about me. And I go, they've taken away EMA, they've taken away the youth centres, they've taken away the youth service.
We have a trauma-informed approach now because we now realise that the majority of the young people that we're working with have experienced some significant trauma in their life, but they've never been supported to even make sense of it. So oftentimes what we're seeing through negative behaviour is knee-jerk reactions because they're in confusion regarding their emotions. They can't process what they're going through. They can't even articulate it sometimes. So
and that's all teenagers that find processing so teenagers who have been through trauma, it's 10 times worse. It's so much worse for them.
Right. Now we've got politicians in high places who know this because they're academics. So you either care or you don't, and I believe actions speak louder than words, so they clearly don't. How much was the last MP's pay rise? Yeah. Doctors and nurses are still... Yeah, so it's like I say, actions speak louder than words. Investment, the money's not going to the right places.
At the moment, literally, I would say, walking around Southwark, 9 out of 10 youth clubs have been closed.
We were on the ground, for want of a better phrase. We were doing a face-to-face work with difficult to reach young people who were brought out, and we could see the impact of the work. It meant that you when you weren't working, you were working. And it was investing in young people, but not just money, it was time. And being that big brother, all of that's gone. And with that comes disillusion, because when you work with these young people, it's like you make an unofficial pledge. Yeah? Nobody's been there for you. I hear you. I will be there for you. I won't let you down. And you strive to honor that, but the system fails you. And I'm still committed, but highly disillusioned.
Well, I mean, surely disillusion with the system, because the system has been absolutely stripped bare, isn't it? It's been stripped bare, and the support and the resources have been taken away. The resources were there, they were working, they were changing community and society for the better.
Like I said, we had it. I remember when I first joined Southwark Yacht, there was a time when Southwark Yacht was over 50 employees. The team was huge. And we were doing really, really good work. And on the back of those results, we hear that funding's been withdrawn and they are going to reduce this. They're going to reduce the service. So a third of the workers are going to have to go.
Were you made redundant from the yacht?
Yeah, eventually. And that's along with the struggles of what young people are going through. It stresses you out. And again, this is the care profession.
All this provision got put in place and things got progressively better until 2010, and then they've got worse and worse and worse. So now these young people are back to where you guys were in the 70s and early 80s.
I think that's one of the problems we face, and that's one of the things we're trying to pull out to you, is that 30, 40 years ago, we had the riots, they had the money supposedly put into place and all these provisions and all these projects, which was good. We did not, because we all got presumably work out of it to work with our community. But here we are, 40 years on.
Yeah, I was in the Midlands a few weeks ago. So I meet one of my old youth workers. He sees me from across the car park. And he's taking a picture first, and he goes, "Peter Jamison, you used to make me work." I said, "Yes." And I call his name, and I said, we used to keep you on your toes, yeah? But this is a guy who would always take time out for us. And as energetic and unruly kids, we would constantly push boundaries. you know, but this guy never ever gave up on us, and like, you know, every now and then he'd sit us down, and you know, he would share some knowledge with us, like, and these things were seeds that he was sowing, and to embed what he was saying into us, he took me on a residential, and when I was there, he had me do some voluntary work, and I've come back and they've given me like a little change, and they've said, well, like, I'm saying, well, so what's this one? They're saying, well, this is youth work. You know, and I'm saying, you get paid for this? He says, yes, this is our profession. Yeah, so that gentleman's name's Carl Buchanan. He's very, very well respected in my area. And there's another youth worker called Josh Johnson. Yeah, Josh Johnson, he was a karate tutor also. Josh got an MBE for his contribution to youth work. But these guys, they are well respected in our community and beloved by people of my age group. And it's ironic that years later, here I am doing the same work as him. So they have been significant influences on my life, and I hope that going forward I can have that same impact on somebody else's life. So, you know, the seed that they've sown has bared fruit. So I'm hoping that as the next tree, I can bear seeds that bear good fruit, and that comes from, again, the riots and provision being put in the community for young people.